Hey cats, it's Ed Midsolski here. Time to explore the future running shoes on the horizon. It's that hit show that you all know and love. Running shoe, yay or nay? A really interesting one to look at, a trail offering from PUMA today, the VOYAGE Nitro 3. Another iteration too of the New Balance 1080 v14 this time. And two shoes from ADIDAS, the ADIZERO EVO SL and the ADIOS Pro 4. Loads to get through today, so let's get into it. Thanks for joining me on the channel, it's always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with the algorithm. Dankeschön. 4 releases to get through today. Running shoe yay or nay isn't me saying that a shoe's absolutely fantastic or total trash. It's just whether I'm thinking about picking up a pair of the respective shoes or not. Just to point that out, make it very clear, because some people think I'm kind of rubbish in a shoe when how can you really until you put your foot in it. First up today, the VOYAGE Nitro 3 from PUMA. This is part of their Seasons collection, and you can tell that because it says it right on the top. Brings back memories for me of the mid-90s here, with the inclusion of the disc lacing system. My good buddy Crazy Horse had a pair of PUMA discs back in the sort of like early 90s kind of time, and he's immortalized as the coolest man alive because of that. This is very much a trail monster for the wet, icy and foreboding weather that we have on the cards in winter 2024 or even next year. 4mm PUMA grip lugs here and a shroud like upper complete with a debris shield. I mean, it doesn't come cooler than that. There's even a zip on it. Should keep out the worst of the weather, and of course a way to tighten and loosen your shoes without having to take off your gloves. What more do you want for 140 quid, people? In terms of stack, we got 35mm in the heel, 27mm up front. That's quite the stack really for the trails. A lot of people prefer a sort of much lower sort of shoe for that type of activity. This one perhaps better suited for British applications, whether it's bone dry out there or a totally flooded mess, which is exactly what we have right now. Reminds me a little bit of the Pegasus Turbo Shield from back in 2019. This Puma's no doubt going to appeal to a very specific range of sort of trail runners, or perhaps even road runners, perhaps in very cold conditions too, although water always gets in somewhere. I think for me it's total overkill. I just don't do the trails enough to warrant this one. I do love the bonkers design from PUMA though. Those guys always throw everything at it, lots of different things, new unique takes, though it's a nay for me this time. Next up, the New Balance 1080 v14, coming very soon. I think it's mid-October, a couple of weeks from the publishing of this video. I'm not really sure where this one sits in the New Balance catalogue now though, because it always used to be this sort of upper max cushion shoe, but there's loads of other max cushion shoes now. Everything's like 38 to 40mm in the heel. This one's just under 300 grams for the sample size. That makes it quite a weighty offering, especially when you consider the SC Trainer 3 is about that weight in my size. Also, this whole area of max cushion is just really saturated. There's so many models, very congested. 160 big ones for this 14th iteration of the 1080. FRESHFOAMX formula in the midsole, more responsive. It seems to be a long-running theme, no pun intended by the way. Midsole's just always bigger, softer material, 38mm of stack in the heel, 32mm up front. It's the classic sort of maxed out cushion shoe. Lots and lots of compression, but not a lot of return. I think it's a nay for me on this one. I've never been a massive fan of this line in fairness, and there's nothing here to really suggest that this is any different from the last few. I think there's other options for me with ample cushion, perhaps for less cash. Though I think it could well be a worthy option if you're a heavier framed runner, sort of bigger built person that needs a more consistent cushion across the footbed. Two big ones up from ADIDAS next. They seem to be capitalising on the fact that it's the Berlin Marathon coming up this weekend. Both of these shoes have got Lightstrike Pro midsoles, but apparently Lightstrike Pro isn't all the same. It's a bit like Lightstrike. There were loads of different versions of that, but they all had the same. I think it just confuses people a little bit. At this stage, you've probably just stopped for a moment or two with your doom scrolling, looking at thousands of shoe tubers, examining the ADIOS Pro 4, people taking a shoe out of a box and, you know, showing it to you. What's the difference between these two shoes? Well, is there that much? The ADIZERO EVO SL, it's going to cost 130 quid in the UK. I think there's a limited release in October, and then they're going to have more of them in 2025. 39mm of stack of Light Strike Pro foam here, 32mm in the forefoot. This seems to be a cheaper or like Epiphone version of the ADIZERO Pro Evo 1, but without the super special foam and of course the £450 price tag. The specs state a 6.5mm drop, though it does look like they're rounding up or down the measurements here. I've never seen that before. They've put a point in. If you can tell the difference, then you're a better person than me. 224 grams for a UK 8.5, the sample size. So it sounds pretty light, though when you compare it up against the SL2, which is already out, that's 238 grams for the sample size. So there's not actually that much difference in it. Plus, they reckon that there's a plus or minus 9 grams either way. So it could pretty much exactly be what you have in the SL2. So is it like a training version of the Pro Evo? Well, I don't think it is, actually. They've actually got someone here eating some food while they're wearing the shoe. You can chow down on some sustenance in your brand new Evo SLs. There's some Continental rubber up front, but then it looks like a more standard rubber back in the heel. So it's kind of like a updated ADIZERO SL2, really, just with the looks of the Pro Evo 1. Though this time a full Light Strike Pro midsole, or at least that's what it looks like from here. More of a daily upper, slightly more expensive price than the SL2. No plates, there's no rods here. So just think about that. If you're about to drop 220 quid on an ADIOS Pro 3, I mean, there's new colorways only released a couple of weeks ago. Seems like bizarre marketing to me. Show off a brand new shoe that's going to come out in a few months' time, or you can buy for the same price, you know, the shoe that's inferior. Or is it? So 220 quid for the ADIOS Pro 4, full release in January 2nd, 2025, so it's a good 3 months away. This one weighs 200 grams, so apparently only 20 grams less than the ADIZERO EVO SL. 39mm of heel stack, 33 in the forefoot, so it's around about the same sort of drop as the Pro 3. Same price too, that's good. Bit lighter by 20 grams, though it seems to suggest the stack is actually slightly less than the Pro 3. Not really sure what's going on there. That seems to be measured across the board at 40, this is 39. Does it make a difference? Probably no. The same energy rods as we have in the Pro 3. We got Continental rubber up front and light traction rubber elsewhere on the outsole. So you could say that the weight saving is mainly in the upper of this shoe. We've got the sling feature there in the heel as before, and a reinforced piece of material that stretches into the heel to provide improvement to the fit that they're calling Light Lock. Sounds a little bit like the functionality of some of that PUMA tape that we've seen on the uppers of their shoes. Forefoot rockers modified by the looks with a bit more curve, but all in all it's not all that different to the ADIOS Pro 3, and I don't really understand why everybody's getting so excited about it. There's a boatload of ADIOS Pro 3 colorways out there, and you can pick up some amazing deals if you look around for those. There's so many colorways, in fact you can almost forget them. I don't know if a viewer's actually totted up all of the colorways across the last couple of years, but it's kind of crazy. I even found a pair floating around in the ADIDAS outlet a while back for about a third of the price. I'm certainly not going to be clambering over people to get a pair to review or spend lavish amounts of money on the resale market to get them. I do think that everything's got a little bit out of control. I try and review shoes from an honesty point of view. Do I think they're an exciting experience to run in? Is this going to be any more exciting than what we've already got in the Pro 3? And I don't really think there's that much of a difference. There's loads of alternatives out there. They've got a Light Strike Pro midsole that are very light, that are very comfortable, that are on discount right now, like the Sen 9 or 10. It's a nay on both of those right now, and the Evo SL is just very close to what you've got in like the Takumi Sen or something. In fact, you can buy the 9 for less than that right now, so why would you buy an inferior shoe for more? I just don't understand it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all 4 of these people down in the comments. Musical interlude time. Been delving again into the Neil Young archives, this time listening to some tracks from his album On the Beach. It's a beautiful album. Short, concise, to the point, wonderful mystery and mystique about the songs, raw delivery, really great vocal performances also from Neil Young across the record. Really love the track Ambulance Blues. It does borrow very heavily from a Bert Jansch song, a folky tune, and he's kind of taken the melody really and adapted it and made his own song out of it. Really love that one. Some of the sentiment behind the verses as well. He's kind of talking about, you know, some of his critics, how they coexist really. They've got a symbiotic relationship. He produces something, people kind of talk about it and rip it apart, and without that sort of feedback loop it never really happens. There isn't anything there to talk about. But when you made a piece of art and you hang it up on the wall, or a piece of music and people are listening to it, it's generating a feeling, it's generating something to talk about and discuss, and some energy. And without the two things, nothing happens, right? The cover from On the Beach is also one of my favourites as well. There's a car sort of immersed in the sand there. Neil Young's put up his little umbrella and he's just looking out to sea. Absolutely wonderful cover, brilliant album. Go and check it out. On the Beach by Neil Young. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's video. It may have sparked some discussion. I bet it has. Make sure you've subscribed as well if you haven't done so already. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment for the algorithm. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you